Okay, let's keep going. And this experiment is done in the mid-20th century. They use cat to do the experiment. So they anesthetize the cat and keep the eye open. And Hubble and Weasley, both of them got the Nobel Prize for study the visual system. They use the cat. And they put electrodes into the visual cortex. They record the neuronal activity. And what they find is if they shine a light on the screen and they move the light is like a bar of light. And suddenly this neuron fire, generate more action potential. And what's they found? That's what they found. So they found the neuron in primary visual cortex, they do the very simple processing. So only in V1, they found this neuron that prefers certain orientation of the light bar. Like some neurons, they prefer, okay, perpendicular. Others prefer 45 degree. You also have the other prefer 90 degree. And each one have their preference. So if this one prefer the horizontal one, you have to show them the horizontal line. And they're gonna create a lot of action potential. If you show them the horizontal one, they will have no response. And if you give them 90 degree or 45 degree, they don't like it. So they found the V1 is the very original area to process the visual, not the main area, because the visual system is very complicated. Turn out you need to have other brain areas, not just V1, also V2, V3, V4, V5, keep processing the visual information. So they code the cells in the V1, the simple cells. They respond to different orientation. And other scientists keep studying the visual system. They found, okay, there are more than one visual function. So humans brain, the visual is our main system because in our cortex, a lot of cortical area are for the visual system. In monkey, actually 50% of their cortex dedicated for visual processing. So primates, the visual is our main system. And we have V4 and IT area. These are the areas responsible for the color. V4, that's for the color select and orientation select. And also this pathway, they call it Watt pathway. Watt pathway. That's for identify the shape. So you are able to identify the shape of the object because of this pathway, V1, V2 to V4. And then let's look at another one called the wear pathway. The wear pathway involved another area called the MT. MT also called V5. And these areas, they are response to moving object. Not too much for the object's shape, but their movement. And for example, this pathway, well, when you see a baseball flying towards you, you probably don't care what this baseball is, what's the shape of it, is it pretty, is it old? Well, you want to be able to dodge away from the baseball. And that's the purpose of this. So this pathway is you are able to see the object is moving, and it's moving closer to you or away from you. And that's this pathway from the V1 to V2 and to V5 or to MT. That's the motion pathway, wear pathway. So the visual system, we have the wear pathway and the Watt pathway, help you to identify the object. Also color vision, and help you to identify the danger of the movement of object. And let's look at the other series of the visual system. This for recognizing the object. They call the Gestalt rule. Gestalt rule. And the rule is your brain like to see an object together, a whole. It's also called the top-down process. We like to see an object together. And your brain will try to combine the object together. In the beginning, I showed the picture of dimension. This is one example of the Gestalt rule. Your brain don't like to see them like random dots. Your brain like to see them together like a one object. And if I show you these lines, your brain will automatically see these look like this instead of this, because these have good continuation. So this is one rule in the Gestalt rule, good continuation. They will automatically combine them together. Application, let's look at this. And when you see this, you say, wow, that's so strange. Why this guy's arm is so long? Until you use your brain to analyze. After a few seconds, you know, okay, this is not this guy's arm. This is actually this person's arm. They just line up pretty well. And why you accidentally see them together? Because of Gestalt rule. Your brain just automatically continuous movement, combine them together. And the second one, similarity, proximity. So I give you these two objects. Your brain automatically separate this and this away because of similarity. And in this part, your brain will connect them, become a line, another line, another line. Less likely to combine them this way because of proximity. Then the next few rules next two for the Gestalt rule is parallelism and symmetry. Like I give you those 9 lines, and something pop out. First one probably will be this, right? 7 and 8. You will see them like one object, and the reason is symmetry. And if I ask you keep looking at them, the next one gonna pop out will be this, 2 and 3, because they are parallel. So these are the rules of Gestalt rule. And your brain can use this. It helps you to recognize the object. Kazinza's figure. This is a pretty famous psychologist. He created this figure. There's no error here. Your brain created it. And how your brain created it? Because Gestalt rule. So your brain just automatically use those rules and be able to recognize the object, and suddenly an arrow show up even though there's no arrow. And there's another one. You see a triangle here, and they need to line up pretty well. When they break this line up, and the triangle disappear. And there's another application. So your brain will automatically connect those lines together if you block it. So this and this exactly the same. But you found it's difficult to recognize this. It's easy to recognize this. Or this and this. It's almost impossible to recognize the object of this. But you can recognize this cube, and because of the Gestalt rule. And your brain are so used to see one object being blocked by something else. So your brain will automatically connect them together. And you see the cube in this, not so much in this. So this tells you, one, the Gestalt rule. Second, you use your brain to see. You don't use your eye to see. And animals, they are able to apply. They don't know the Gestalt rule, but they apply it. Like it's very difficult to see the owl because continuity. We just normally see this gonna keep moving, right? They look like the bark, so we miss them. And that's the Gestalt rule. Okay, now let's switch gear to talk about depth perception. The depth is actually your brain created because your retina is 2-dimensional. So you use the 2-dimension create the 3-dimension. And there are several rules. Some apply 2 eyes, others you only need 1 eye. So this one, approximate size. This is 1 eye only. So you will feel like you will see this one is closer to you. This is one far away from you because we know okay how big the head is, how big the hand is, and we compare the size. We know this must be closer to you. So that's one way to create the depth perception. And there are also other rules. Like next one, if you see an object moving, if this object become bigger and bigger, you know it's come closer to you. If it's smaller and smaller, you know it's farther away from you. Yeah, I got this book. Got this picture from this book. Sometimes I add some pictures for the materials, and it's all in the PowerPoint. Okay, depth perception. Converge line. Your brain automatically looking for the converge line. If your brain see the converge line, and suddenly the depth perception appear. So for example, like this one, you're going to see this object smaller than this one, even though they're the same size. And the reason is the convergence line. Your brain will look for the convergence line. And even though you're not aware of it. And when your brain see the convergence line, this block more lines than this one. So your brain going to assume this is bigger. And this will affect the art, like the Renaissance. Renaissance is after in the 17th century, the Black Death wipe out the half of the population in Europe, and when everyone believed that Europe is done, and suddenly Renaissance. And the Renaissance art, they have a very realistic picture. So I show you this one is pre-Renaissance picture. Show you the building, the people, compared with Renaissance. You found, wow, this one is very realistic. And the reason, parallel line. So you have the parallel line. Even though you are not aware of it, your brain sees it. So every time you have the parallel line, it creates 3D perception. Next one, binocular cue. And the reason is your two eyes, their distance is fixed. And when they use the muscle, converge them to see the object. And how much they converge, well, they know they can do the math in your brain, transfer back. So this is far away, this is closer. So this is binocular view. Sometimes they use the shadow, like these four objects that are exactly in the same place. Why these four look closer to you, this is in the back, and the reason is the shadow. And similar for this one, that's the shadow make a difference. And similar for this one, so this, they're in exactly the same place, but the difference is the shadow. So the shadow make this look closer to you, this is in the back, and the shadow make this closer, this is in the back. And let's look at some application. Because the 3D vision is created by your brain, so some artists create this called the accidental viewpoint. This is triangle, they call it impossible triangle. Why impossible? Because this is not a triangle, this is actually this. So you have to stand here, it's gonna look like a perfect triangle. And some artists create this. This is the painting on the floor, look like 3D because 3D is created by your brain. It's actually this. They paint it on the floor, and you have to stand here from this view, and suddenly it creates a 3D vision. They just paint it on the floor. And that's another application. Okay, this person is real, but this is painting, so you have to stand here. If you go to the other side, it actually look like this. So you have to stand there and look at the painting, and it look like a 3D. And that's another one. Application of accidental viewpoint, and there's another one, right? Now you know what happens. This lady is in a bag, he is pretty close. This is painting. And they try to make an application of it, the painting on the floor. They try to create a speed bump. So when you see this, and suddenly you slow down your speed. If you don't, you are not supposed to drive. And that's the application of it. And also we have the artist try to go the other way around, make a 3D look like a 2D. And Alexa Midi, her work is make a 3D look like a 2D. And you say, why this painting is unique? It's not so impressive unless this TV, this stool, this person, they're all real. So that's her work. Because your brain have to look for the cue to create a 3D vision. And if you block all the cues your brain can find, when suddenly a 3D look like a 2D. So that's her work, that's her. This is painting, well, except this is not a painting, this is a real person, this is a real lady. And there's another work of her. So look like a painting, but that's her. And that's her work. So you can make a 3D look like a 2D, or a 2D look like a 3D. And because your brain, eventually you use your brain to see. And even though we know so much about the visual system, there's still something we don't know, like there's some illusion. So far we don't know what happens. When you see this, you feel like, oh, it's dizzy, it's moving. So far we don't know what brain area responsible for it. Like this one, it start to move. And when you fix at it, it stops. So we know it's not the fovea, it's not the cone system, it's probably the rod system. But where because the rod is in your peripheral vision, only your peripheral vision create it. But where exactly this happened and this happens, we don't know. So there's still something in the visual system we don't understand. Okay, so that's the visual system. Hope you enjoy it.